Welcome to the session on rounding decimals up and down. The objective for this session is to understand and apply decimal rounding. Knowing about rounding numbers is important for several reasons. It helps simplify calculations, it enhances communication, and it makes information more manageable. Let's take a look at examples. If you are in the supermarket and need to add the cost of several items, such as £3.35 plus £7.11 plus £8.96, it will be much easier to find £3 plus £7 plus £9, which is of course equal to £19. Rounding also helps to enhance communication. So for example, if we have the population size of 3 towns, as shown here, we have, for example, population A, or town A, has a population size of 5,345, and population B has a population size of 17,263, and town C has a population size of 151,789. Now, this is all, as you can hear, very wordy. It's probably going to be much easier if we read this as shown. So we have town A and then the population size in thousands, and we've now rounded to the closest thousand. So town A has a population size of approximately 5,000. Population B has a population size of approximately 17,000, and population C has a population size of approximately 152,000. And as you can see, it's now much easier to read. Rounding numbers also makes information more manageable. In computer programming, for example, and data analysis, rounding is frequently used to manage large data sets efficiently. Rounding also plays a role in algorithms, mathematical models, and various computations within software. How do we read decimal numbers? We start from the left. We begin reading digits to the left of the decimal point, as with any whole number. At the decimal point, we say point, and then read the digits to the right of the decimal point. We continue reading the digits one by one. So for example, this number is 0.75. So first we read the 0, of course the digit to the left of the decimal point, and then we say point, and then we start to read the digits to the right of the decimal point. So 7 and then 5. And the number, as we said earlier, is 0.75. We are now going to take a look at how many decimal places a number is given to. The number of digits after the decimal point gives the number of decimal places the number has been given to. So for example, 4.83 has 2 digits after the decimal point. Therefore, this number is given to 2 decimal places. We are now going to learn how to round a number to a given number of decimal places. Let's take a look at the steps first, before taking a look at examples. We first identify the target decimal place. Next, determine the decimal place to which you want to round. Then, look at the digit immediately to the right of the target decimal place. Then decide to round up or stay the same. If the digit to the right is 5 or greater, round up. If it's less than 5, then it stays the same. And finally, adjust the number. If rounding up, increase the digit in the target place by 1. If not rounding up, don't change the digit in the target. And then replace the digits to the right if necessary. We're now going to take a look at some examples to illustrate this, because to understand it in words is much more challenging, and examples will clarify what we mean. Let's take a look at this example. We are required to round this number on your screen to 2 decimal places. The number is of course given to 4 decimal places. We first determine the decimal place to which we want to round, and that is of course 2 decimal places. We then identify the target decimal place, which is as highlighted, and then we look at the digit immediately to the right of the target decimal place. In order to round to 2 decimal places, we look at this digit in the third place after the point. If it's greater than or equal to 5, which it clearly isn't, we remove it and increase the number in the second place by 1. But because it's less than 5, we simply remove these two numbers and then we leave the 3 as it is. And therefore we have that 0.8344 is actually 0.83 to 2 decimal places. Now let's take a look at this example. We are required to round 0.75 to 1 decimal place. This number is given to 2 decimal places. But of course we want to give it as 1 decimal place. We identify the target decimal place, which is this, highlighted here, and then look at the digit immediately to the right of the target decimal place. As this is greater than or equal to 5, we now remove it and increase the number in the first place by 1. Therefore, we remove this and then add 1 to this. So we have that 0.75 is equal to 0.8 to 1 decimal place. Now let's take a look at this example. 4.834967 needs to be rounded to 3 decimal places. This number is given to 6 decimal places. But of course we're required to give it to 3 decimal places. This is the target decimal place. We now look at the digit immediately to the right of the target decimal place, which is this number 9 here. Clearly it's greater than or equal to 5. Therefore we remove it and the numbers after it. So we remove these and then add 1 to this. So this number is 0.835 to 3 decimal places. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to understand and apply decimal rounding. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. The solutions will be released one at a time, so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Now have a go at these exercises. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. The solutions will be released one at a time. In order to understand this topic in greater depth, do attempt the exercises in your textbook related to this topic. Thank you very much for listening.